Welcome back to Under the Radar, where each week we look at all the ups and downs from the NBA that completely fell under the radar. It is good to be back. I got a lot of stuff to cover. Let's break it down. Starting off in the East, I'm looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. These guys almost look better than when LeBron was there. As of today, they have the second best defense in the entire league. They have a 7-game win streak and are 8-2 in their last 10 games. They beat the Wizards so bad during that win streak that I think the entire front office took a sick day. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure the Wizards' practices are getting way back to the basics, dribbling, learning where the three-point line is, things like that. Honestly, we knew that Donovan Mitchell was going to ball out like he does, but honestly, a huge shout out to everybody else on the team. That team's depth is unreal. Even Tristan Thompson is contributing. Remember him? Coming over to the West, I'm looking at the Utah Jazz. Now, for the longest, this team has been the Utah Blues because there has not been much to be jazzed about. But word on the street is they're playing Jazz again. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're the second best rebounding team in the entire league, and they already jumped up to the number 9 seed. They had a nice win streak just a few games ago, but it was broken by OKC. To be fair, a lot of people lose to OKC. The Jazz also very quietly have some depth to their team as well. I mean, they have Lauri Markkanen balling out, John Collins is on the team, Jordan Clarkson is getting buckets, and even Colin Sexton is balling out. Remember him? Their roster's super young. Let's see if they can stay in the play-in picture. Coming back to the East, I want to shout out Jalen Brunson. This dude, talk about begging to be an all-star. This guy will not stop with these MCU-type games. Side note, the Knicks in general have been doing awesome. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games and jumped to the number 5 seed. Back to Jalen Brunson. Since Donovan Mitchell took over the Spider-Man name, we'll call Jalen Brunson Captain America. This is what Captain America did in his last 5 games. Versus Washington, he had 33 points, 8 assists. Against Portland, he had 12 points, 7 assists, with a plus and minus of 29. Versus Dallas, he had 30 points, 8 assists. That was the only game they lost. Versus Houston, he had 30 points, 7 assists. Versus Washington, again, he had 41 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. The Knicks have just been balling. Let's see if they make any trades before the deadline to really push them to the championship picture. Coming back to the West, I'm looking at Kyrie Irving. Now, this guy has been getting the occasional shout out, but he really deserves some praise. This dude has just been balling out. No controversies, no drama, no magic tricks, just buckets. He's played a majority of the games this season and has just been himself. Here's what he did in his last 5 games. Short disclaimer though, they only won 2 of those 5 games, partially because they are allergic to the idea of defense. I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of personal vendetta against even the idea of it. But that's not the point. He has been exceeding already high expectations. Versus Memphis, he had 33 points, 8 rebounds. Against New York, he had 44 points, 10 assists. Against New Orleans, he had 33 points, 6 assists. Versus New Orleans, again for the rematch, he had 42 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. They won that game. Versus the Lakers, he had 12 points, 6 assists. For context, he's doing this with a teammate like Luka Doncic. These dudes are cooking so much. The Mavs are basically a catering business. Now, if they can just play defense, honestly, just consider the idea of playing defense. They're going to be even scarier. All right, my letdowns for this week. Coming back to the East, I'm looking at the Brooklyn Nets. They're not bad or anything, but lately they've just been a little disappointing. To be more specific, in their last 10 games, they have only won 2 of them. On top of that, they dropped to the number 11 seed behind the Atlanta Hawks. Remember them? Now, this team is still very young and just need a little more time to develop, so I can't really think of any trades that really make sense. If you do, let me know. I think their biggest issue is that their offense has been a little cold lately. But don't worry, because Ben Simmons says he's coming back soon. And don't panic, my sources are telling me that there are workout videos from him on the way. My other letdown coming from the West is the Houston Rockets. Yo, from Rockets to Submarines, these guys are falling behind. As of today, these guys are now below 500 and holding down the number 11 seed. And I know the West is tough, honestly, so is the East. But these guys were holding their own. They've won plenty of games already this season against really good teams in their conference. I think as long as they don't fall too far behind, they'll be okay. They have a lot of pieces on that team. Once they start clicking, they can still come back. Now, they do have one player that I would like to see a little bit more from. He was the number 3 pick in the draft, and honestly, there were talks that he was going to be the number 1 pick. He's had a couple of games where he's been absolutely on fire and really good. I would just like to see that a little bit more consistently. If he does, they'll be really good. Of course, I'm talking about Jabari Smith. Remember him? So, what I missed, who am I sleeping on? Let me know in the comments, wherever you feel like it. I'm Jay, this is Under the Radar, and I'll be back next week.